Andy, were you up for the latest news? I suppose. I mean, you have to have been aware of the world's biggest performer making more announcements and more releases. Are you aware? I'm just going to ask you the question and
I
let you.
mean, I can only assume, Dave, that you're talking about your favorite performer, Taylor Swift, dropping a new album today, right? Isn't that what's supposed to happen this morning?
That is definitely right, Andy. Definitely right. The Tortured Poets Department, Andy. 2 a.m.
Just the name
surprise.
makes me tired. Just the name, I'm tired already.
I know, I know. Tortured Poets Department, 2 a.m. I'm sure there were people waiting patiently
Oh
all
yeah,
through the night to do it. I was not one of them, but
because you never went to sleep, or
15 songs, Andy. 15 songs.
yeah,
The
yeah,
the the girl, I mean, look, I know she's a satanic cult leader and she worships all the heathen,
right.
pagan, whatever, what she's witch, whatever. 15 songs in the midst. I mean, she just wrapped up her world tour, Andy. I
Yeah,
mean, like in the pandemic, she did 2 albums, Andy. This like say what you want about her. The girl is amazing. I
yeah.
mean, I mean,
I mean, I feel your enthusiasm. I feel you're almost like a loss of words with your enthusiasm, which, hey, I'm excited for you and all Swifties out there to, take it in this weekend. I think this is a great time of year to drop new music because it rolls into that summer vibe where music's
mhm.
just so much more fun, whether you're driving or whatever you like, it's just so much better. So great timing. And yeah, I say Taylor Swift, does a lot of work, right? Touring albums and there's all this. She's constantly on shows and podcasts, and I really appreciate artists like that. I say, I've mentioned the Black Keys a bunch of times. Those guys have cranked out 4 albums in the last 5 years, and they've been touring like nonstop. Like some of these artists really like they're in it. They're in it to work to entertain. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, God forbid. I mean, you make an album and you don't go touring right away,
Yeah,
and all like today's it's like these one album wonders, and you never hear from people again, or they put out a second album after 3 or 4 years and the buzz is already gone. I mean, look, I mean, this is I'm gonna be listening all weekend. I'll put it on through my Apple Music and start just rolling through it. I'm not this the true Swifty where I'm like love all of her songs, but man, I tell you, there's about 5 or 6, 7 songs on each album that just grab you. I love it. I'm excited. It's good. I watched the Eras tour on Disney Plus last night. I was going through it. She just bangs out songs. I mean, every one of these things you can listen to. And when she performs, it is amazing just to watch. It's not just she's sitting up there behind a microphone. I mean, she's got routines, she's got acting skits and stuff like that. I mean, it was 3 hours, Andy, of 40 some odd songs. I mean, who does that? Like, okay, so this is where I want to just real quick, I'm going to diverge. And you're going to have to follow me today. I'm all over the place. You've given
let's
me
go,
tons
Dave.
of material, but our favorite band, Andy, is U2, right? So the Eras tour was all based around the premise of what era, what album were you? And you
Yeah,
come and dressed up as that album, and it was real fun, right? I think it was great promotion, great stuff. I'm a 1989 Eras tour person, though could go into red maybe a little bit. So that's for her. Our favorite band, Andy, is U2. They put out a ton of albums as well. What era out now? You and I have done this. What are like the top
right.
albums of all like that we've enjoyed for U2? What era of U2 would you be in?
Oh, that's tough. Like by album,
Yeah, just it's got to be the album. Like if you could go to any of the albums, which one would you do?
that's really tough. So yeah, there's a lot of ways to go on that because
There's
each of
not,
the
Andy. There's
albums.
only one way to go on this, by the way. There's only one way. Go ahead.
I think I have to go to the album that like really brought me into U2, and I was transitioning to being old enough to really appreciate music fully. And so even though I mean it might be my favorite album, but I can't remember how I ranked them when we did this before. I think it was my second favorite album at the time, but I think the one that like brought me in and made me feel like, wow, this band is something amazing is Rattle and Hum from I think '89, if I
Yep.
recall. It's their, for those who don't know, that's their live album, a lot of the Joshua Tree, a lot of the older music brought in as well, some other stuff
Hawk
we
Moon,
hadn't
Andy.
heard
Hawk Moon
before.
was on that album.
Yeah, Hawkmoon was on that album, and so it's just it's just really powerful. It's when the voice was great, the energy was great. Even those others I might like sort of more resonate with, pop hit at the right time, when I was a little bit older still and sort of had a different sound. And Octoon Baby, so good, right? But uh, yeah, and now they saw Octoon Baby, Dave, kind of being pulled in that direction too. I don't know, Dave. Help me out here. Where would you go? Where would you go?
Yeah, the only album, the only correct choice here is Octoon Baby, Andy. And and I'm glad you got there. I'm glad you worked your way through it because that's the only correct choice.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, and I don't discount because I did go back because Octoon Baby was what got me into it full. You
And the
know,
mysterious ways, it's so good.
every single one of those
Yeah,
songs you could go through start to finish on that. And
yeah,
my favorite song is So Cruel, and
yeah,
that doesn't get any play at all. I was so psyched when they played it at the Sphere. But Octoon Baby is great. But then I did go back and I was like, you know what? Rattle and Hum is great. I mean,
so
that
good.
that, that is so good. It showed a lot of their work and how, their diversity and how they could go many
Yeah,
different places. And then Joshua Tree, you had Joshua Tree, Rattle and Hum, and Octoon Baby, three distinct albums.
yeah,
It shows you how good they were at their peak of their powers, and they're still good. They're still banging it out, of course. So that was kind of, but I tease, of course, Andy. I think we've done a lot of work around you too, but Octoon Baby would be my era if I had to choose one from
yeah.
there.
That,
So
that's probably fair. I think growing up when we did, Dave, as part of you two, a little bit older than us, right? But they really made music that just rocked, Gen X and carried through. I think almost every guy that grew up in our time period. I mean, nobody doesn't know you two, but a lot
yeah,
of people just really appreciate the music. And I think I was talking to my wife about this a few years back. How guys get a lot more excited about you two than women do. Women appreciate you two. I think there's a lot of huge fans, but there's something that just like a lot of guys just like instantly get excited when you start talking about you two. They're just so unique. There's nobody else that sounds like them in
yeah,
the area. They continue to be great through glam rock, through grunge, through all different
yep.
trends. As hip hop really became much more popular, like you two just persisted as being a band that was loved by so many people. So yeah, that's good. Knocking Baby was just sort of exceptional and just it was so revolutionary for the band and just such powerful sounds that really showed the innovation and ability of those four guys. So hey, very fair, very fair. I didn't know we were going to go you two this morning.
Yeah, well,
Took my brain a little time to grease up and think through it, but I feel
yeah.
yeah, good
Okay,
stuff. Good
so
stuff.
you're gonna follow me again here, Andy. So we
I'm on the
started with
path.
Taylor, went to you two. Look, Taylor Swift's boyfriend, Travis Kelsey, he's
Yeah,
also in the news, Andy. He's
he
also.
is.
What do you think about Travis Kelsey being a game show host now, Andy? This look, he's nearing the end of his football career. I mean, he's
Yeah,
probably still got maybe 2 more years left. I mean, last year was kind of rough. He was a little battling some injuries, getting definitely older, slower. He's probably got one strong year and then maybe one tail off year that says, "Hey, I got to retire now." But he is transitioning to this. He's obviously Taylor's boyfriend. He's got a hugely successful podcast. It was successful before he was with Taylor. Not
yeah.
quite at our level, Andy.
It's
Not quite
not.
at
It's
our
not.
level
Listen, it's not.
now,
It's not.
but
Yeah.
he's got a good podcast. So, what do you think of Travis Kelsey moving to diversify his interests? Michael Strahan did some of this stuff too, and
Yeah.
he's
Phenomenal.
made a nice transition.
Strahan, I think, is just a phenomenal, story. Like for that guy to go from being the grinder he was in the football field, like you never thought of him as the entertainer, to transition to becoming not only TV host, but a genuinely serious, respected guy that can talk a variety of issues, right? Serious issues. He's awesome. I commend Michael Strahan, and he still does his football stuff, which I love. So, but the Kelsey. So what it has to be said, man. I've listened to the Kelsey brothers. I've listened to St. Brown brothers. I consume podcasts, a lot. We're better, but that's besides the point. That's besides the point. But with Kelsey, the Kelsey brothers are sort of transitioning to entertainment. And to be honest, I think on the podcast, I think Jason really carries that show. To be honest with you, I feel like Travis is more the sideshow entertainment Jason really is very solid on that show, in my opinion. But I think Travis Kelsey is very fun. I mean, his energy, his he's an entertainer himself. He's a lot of fun. I think he'll do great as a game show. I think it'll be fun to watch him. He's matured over the years, right? He said some pretty, almost like colorful type remarks over the years. Some sound bites here and there, but in good fun mode. And I don't think there's anything that was like super controversial that I recall. I think he'll do a good job, and I think he's likable. I think he's got a good future. Whether he ends up being Mr. Taylor Swift or just his own, you know, act. I think he's got a nice future, whether it's in entertainment, TV show hosting, or acting. I think he can go a number of ways. America, really loves the Kelsey brothers, and I think there's an opportunity for both of them to continue to succeed.
I could see him going into like the role of like what how John Cena has come in some of these there's a lot of things about Travis Kelsey wanting to be a movie star and everyone's like, oh, you'll be an action star and all this other stuff. I don't quite think he's at that level. Howie Long did some action movies
Yeah,
back in the
yeah,
day, and some of these football players would do it. But I don't know if I see him doing that as much as I see him kind of being involved in something that can show off some of his quirky humor with also being this big muscle guy or
yeah.
whatever. So be interesting to see there. Okay, Andy. So again, transition here again. Follow me. We're going now from music, Taylor Swift
All
to
right.
boyfriend to other football player. Aaron Rodgers, Andy.
Oof.
Aaron
AR.
Rodgers. Aaron freaking Rodgers, Andy. Aaron freaking Rodgers. The savior of the Jets, over 40 years old. He's somehow going to make the Jets relevant again.
Yeah,
But we can't focus on football, Andy, because he opens his fucking mouth all the time. He's made a lot of comments on Pat McAfee's show. He's been involved in a lot of things with celebrities, such as Jimmy Kimmel. He's gone back and forth with him on this. Now he's comments that he made in a podcast in April, or I'm sorry, or in March, Andy, where Aaron Rodgers suggested the HIV/AIDS epidemic from the 80s, and obviously it's still a significant disease today, was engineered by the director of the National Intelligence or Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases with the help from the federal government, Andy. He also said that this was a blueprint for the COVID-19 pandemic, with both health crises being handled by none other than Dr. Fauci, Andy, the former chief medical advisor to the President of the United States, and the bastion or the focus of all the ire of anything COVID related and health related from extremist groups on all sides of the aisle, Andy. Um, what do we think about Aaron Rodgers? I mean, we missed it. By the way, you sent this to me on Waste Wednesday.
yeah,
But we record so early, we couldn't add it in there. So
yeah. So, I mean, Aaron Rodgers, one, the Jets are probably going to be good this year, which annoys me, and that division stinks, so they could be good. But I hope it's a disaster. Like just be, and
I
that's nothing
hope.
to do with his. That's got nothing to do with his comments. In general, it's just as a Lions fan, I hold my grudges, and to see Aaron Rodgers stink on the football field is, of course, something I've wanted to see for many years, and not had a chance to really appreciate fully. So that aside, look, when it comes to COVID, Dave, there's a whole separate discussion to have, right, you know, on the whole thing, on how information was presented, on the cancel culture aspect of things, on people refusing to entertain, ideas that have some legitimacy over the time, so that's a whole separate discussion we can get into, I think. But Rogers is known for sort of a fair amount of nonsense that comes out of his mouth, right? So, with the HIV thing, like there's zero actual evidence for that. And while, listen, I always encourage everybody to question everything, right? I like that's 100% question things. But when people say I do my own research, it's rare that you see somebody today who says that, who does actual research, right? It's I've looked shit up on Yahoo fringe websites and consumed it as gospel. That's not research, right? That's running down the rabbit hole of insanity and conspiracy theories. You can find anything on the internet. That's the internet. You can find anything on the internet. You can find a porn variation of anything on the internet. That's why the internet exists, right? So doing my own research isn't Googling, HIV origins and then running down some crazy wild ass theory rabbit hole. Doing your own research is reading, getting information from trusted, reliable sources. There's something to be said for the knowledge of experts, right? You can question experts, but they're experts for a reason. And if you haven't dedicated, the amount of time to really understand and logically be able to question it or find opposing views from other experts and sort of make it an opinion here, you've got to sort of step back and like, yeah, I understand you read something on Dr. Steve's magical website, right, that pushes back on whatever science says. It's probably loony bullshit, right? So anytime somebody says I did my own research, it is to me like, hey, what does that mean? Like what does that mean? And so in Aaron Rodgers' case, yeah, I'm glad you can look shit up on Google like any 7-year-old, and I'm glad you believe it just like any 7-year-old. Look, I've done my own research. There's two different types of Voltron defending the universe. They're far away, so you haven't seen them yet. Voltron's not fucking real, right? There's a lot of evidence for Voltron's existence on the internet. Voltron isn't real, right? And neither is half the shit that Aaron Rodgers and others consume while doing their own research. So, look, go play football, Aaron. Go, good luck to you, honestly. And I hope he doesn't get injured this year. I hope he can play. I hope he sucks just as a fan of the Lions. I hope he sucks. But as a football player, as an athlete, he's fantastic, right? He's fantastic. He's a guy I love to hate as a player, just like I love to hate Tom Brady when he was, killing everybody in the NFL. But be great at what you're great at, and otherwise, shut the fuck up, Aaron Rodgers.
So this begs the question. You started to touch on it, Andy.
Okay.
Obviously these are wild ass statements, theories, and exaggerations.
Oh
We have
no.
politicians and we have celebrity who have thrust themselves into these worlds. Now, some of them have done it very responsibly. Some of them have done it, like they are actually educated on the issues. They do get involved. They do, and I'm not going to discount that. But you may disagree with what these people say one way or the other. Somebody may come out and support a presidential candidate. Others may not. Some may do this and some may do that. Should that give us cause to just hate them and say, Aaron Rodgers, because of these waste comments that he keeps making, I hate him with all my heart and
Yeah.
mind, and I can never appreciate and enjoy something. George Clooney, because he did this, I will never watch another Ocean's 11 movie ever again. I
Yeah.
mean, I just use George Clooney as an example on the other side, right?
He's so good looking, Dave. Let's
Oh
not.
God,
I
he's
mean, come on,
dreamy, isn't he?
George
I
Clooney.
mean,
Come
look,
on.
I had an issue, like, McDreamy, from the Grey's Anatomy. He was given that name, but really, let's be real. George Clooney's like this guy is amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
come on. So,
Yeah.
anyways, neither here nor there, Andy. Um, but you see, you got me off on track on dreaming,
Sorry.
right?
Sorry.
So, anyways, Andy, the question to you is this: should we hate these people, or should we just and hate their very existence, like some
Yeah.
people do, or
Yeah.
can we hate their comments but enjoy their work?
Yeah, yeah, and so I think that's a great question, right? And so I think there's a number, like everything, I think there's a number of ways to answer it. There's no straight answer, right? I think we're free to hate and dislike whoever we want for whatever reason, right? Because Aaron Rodgers was formerly a Packer, because he's got some wild ass theories, because he likes to go into his dark place and get wasted for a few days to ponder life, the universe, and everything. Yeah, there's a number of reasons to dislike somebody. I think there's a couple things. If one of the things I love about America is you can throw your dollars wherever you want. So if you genuinely are offended and pissed off and hate Aaron Rodgers, don't watch his games, don't buy his jersey, don't listen to his shows. Like they hate him on the football field, like do whatever you want. Like that's fine. I mean, like that's 100% fine. You're allowed to do that. Where I disagree, where the line gets crossed, is when we to get into cancel culture, right? So it's one thing for us to say, hey, I'm gonna boycott Aaron Rodgers. I don't want to listen to this guy. It's another thing when we try to silence people and like not give them like they're not allowed to speak anymore, right? We're like, hey, like if there was action to like get Rodgers out of the NFL because of his statements or beliefs, or hey, we like that's another level that is destructive, un-American, non-compassionate, right? So that's wrong, right? And there's a great book, Dave. We've talked about the fire org on this show before. Greg, the CEO there, put out a book last year on cancel culture. It's important. It's a real topic. It's an important topic, especially when it comes to taking away the ability for people to hear opposing views, just to hear them and to think through them and be able to push back on them. So I disagree with that. But as far as like disliking somebody, like hey, dislike whoever you want. That's the beauty of America and the market economy. Put your dollars where you want. I'll go see certain players, I'll go see certain performances, and there's others that I have no interest in. I won't give them my dollar, my time, my attention, my media ratings. And that's a decision we can all make on our own. But like what I would not want to see is people coming out and be like, oh, cancel Aaron Rodgers. Because reality is, right? But when people have done that in the past many times, now Aaron Rodgers' HIV comments are stupid, right? But there are times when people raise ideas, sometimes present them badly, sometimes misinformed, sometimes incomplete. But there are nuggets of value in what they're saying, even if it's presented real shittily. I think that's a word, Dave, shittily.
Yep,
And
surely.
so, I think we've got to be open to hearing these things. And I think, for those that profess to be of our faith, Dave, for those like you've got to have compassion for people and not want to destroy them and their lives, right? But to say, hey, I disagree with you. I want to, try to understand where you're coming from. Why does this person believe what they believe? Because there's probably some value in how they got there, and have compassion. And you can respectfully disagree politically, philosophically, religiously, whatever, but keep it respectful. Keep an open mind, an open heart, and open ear, because you know what? A lot of times we're wrong about shit. And the history of both religion and science is a history of being wrong, right? Like science is constantly discovering that it's wrong about stuff and learning and growing. Like that's the scientific journey. It's awesome. Religion, people have been defining things for thousands of years, and they're always wrong. People are still waiting for the return of the Christ. They've been wrong for 2,000 years, right? And today, I mean, today you've got people talking about this sign of the apocalypse, that sign of the apocalypse, like constantly. It's a history of being wrong, right? The church has also been wrong a lot over time. So have some humility, and be open to people, even when we disagree with people. Now, because Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers, fuck Aaron Rodgers. But we've got to draw the right line. Sorry, Dave, I went on long, but you asked.
Yeah, no worries at all, Andy. I think, look, I think you brought up a lot of really great points, and I think I agree with you. I mean, what kind of amazes me about this is this info, and I'm just going to use Aaron Rodgers' example, is like
Yeah,
this is something that came up in March, right? Where was the outrage in March? I mean, we're in mid-April. Like, I mean, this is the challenge with like this 24-hour news cycle
yeah,
and constant need for information. Like, if this was said in March, and look, Aaron Rodgers has things have come up where when remember go back when RFK Jr. was talking about adding Aaron Rodgers as a vice
yeah,
presidential
yeah,
candidate. There was stuff that they were saying that Aaron Rodgers said back, 10, 15 years ago. It's like, look, where is that? We're doing this now because, look, I need a click. I need something to
yeah.
drive attention to come to us. And I'm going to make up, they're not making up the story, but like this wasn't a story 6 weeks ago. Why is it a story today? And you just have to go through that drill. And this idea of cancel culture, I hope we're getting away from that anymore. But you're right. You're absolutely right. Look, hate whoever you want. I mean, you're entitled to do that. Uh, but let's not let it consume who your life to the point where you can't appreciate that. Hey, both things could be good. Aaron Rodgers is an ignorant asshole, who makes a lot of waste comments, but he's also a fucking really good football player.
Yeah.
And he's going to go down in the Hall of Fame. Does that, look? I mean, that's.
Cancel him from the Hall of Fame.
I know, cancel him from the Hall of Fame. So it is an interesting debate that I hear people go into. And look, I'm not saying I don't struggle with it either. I don't wish people would like I don't have it like, man, I wish Tom Brady would fail here or something like that.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I'm just hurting myself, Andy. So okay, all right. So we've made our weary way through this Friday maze, Andy. Let's end where we began with a little music, Andy. Anything you know what I'm listening to this weekend? Taylor Swift. Let's
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
What are you pulling anything for New Music Friday, Andy?
So I haven't had a chance to fully consume New Music Friday, but I do know that Pearl Jam's new album, did come out as well. They've
At
released
2 a.m. in the morning, Andy? 15 songs?
I
No.
mean, I think it's 12 songs, I think.
Okay.
11 songs, 11 songs. So, but this is, I think we said the 12th or 13th studio album here. And the first two songs were actually really good, rockin' tunes. So I'm looking forward to hearing the rest of it and seeing where it goes. Chances are, eight of those songs will suck, but we'll see. I'm looking forward to checking that out. And then I'll do my usual scan. So we'll see where the music takes us. And we'll be enjoying that over the course of the weekend as well. And it got some driving to do this weekend, so it'll be blasting loudly as I enjoy myself. But yeah, always good there.
Just a shout out to all the bands that keep pumping out 12, 11, 12 songs,
Yeah.
more than one album too. I can just really appreciate that type of work, Andy, because I mean, Pearl Jam, their first album was so good. Their second album really good too. And then they just kept going. I drifted off. I drifted away from them for a little while. But I can appreciate that they keep at it. So, anything else exciting this weekend, Andy?
No, can I just mention some of the things we didn't get into, just for
Yeah.
people
Oh
to
yeah, yeah. Let's go. Let's go.
let me just say, because like these things, like the fact. So I just want to throw them out there, right? We talked
Okay.
about some of the crazy ass things we'll say. Dave, for those who haven't listened, like chemtrails, like the idea that the government is deliberately releasing, chemicals into the atmosphere, right, through visible
Run it, Andy.
plumes in the sky, right? For those who don't know, like government is dropping some stuff, we don't know what, into the sky for some purpose. We don't know why, but it's definitely nefarious. Dave, there's legislation being proposed in multiple states about chemtrails, which goes back to Aaron Rodgers doing his own research and some of the crazy ass stuff that has permeated into the halls of Congress, of state legislatures. So that's one, and I'll let people dive into that more if they want to. Great article in Tech Dirt and other sources, talking about some of the lunacy of that stuff. And speaking of people that say stupid things, I hate to say her name. I'm not going to say her name. I've got to come up with a nickname for her. But a blonde woman from Georgia who is
Oh, can I
constantly
say it? Can I say it? Can I say it, Andy?
go if you have to, she she made a statement about wanting to deploy space lasers on the border to combat immigration. This is the woman who was once, ranting and raving about Jewish space lasers. Now she wants to use them for the good of America, Jewish or otherwise, I guess, right? Whoever owns the space lasers to stop illegal border activity. Like, good God, like what the fuck is going on? So there's just two things. And then Dave, in a more fun note, I guess, a lot of attention being paid to Boston Dynamics retiring their hydraulic robot, only to bring back a more vicious and more deadly looking version of that's electric powered. And Dave, we've also got remote controlled cockroaches running through the desert as cyborg cockroaches. Listen, death is coming to humanity, and we deserve it. So I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to where things. I just put those out there. They've been in my head. I just want to leave those with those that are listening. If you have questions, I'll gladly send you the links for all of this. There's so much good and bad and crazy going on around us. Technology is awesome. I love it. We're going to end up getting killed by it, but I love it along the way. And Dave, that's where my mind is here on this Friday as we wrap up. Sorry, I just had to throw those things out there. But I love the path you took us on today. Didn't see it coming that way. Well done. Well done.
I try, Andy, but let me just say one thing. You know how we said Aaron Rodgers can make a lot of waste comments and be good at football. Marjorie Taylor Greene is not capable of making waste comments, and she's not actually a good politician either. So,
No.
like those things are not both true. So, and in fact, it's embarrassing. It's funny when I heard this when saw the story on the space lasers protecting the border. What came to mind was Captain America Civil War, Andy,
Yeah.
where they put those ships up and they were going to just target what are we going to do here? Is that what we're going to be doing? And we're going to have satellites, and if
Yeah.
somebody crosses the border, they're going to get a
Yeah.
singe or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. Just eliminate them. Just fry them. All this we didn't even get into. We didn't even get into the fuck sleeve, right? I mean, so for those, like, I just want to leave this image for those who's really closing out, right? This a guy who's like borderline incel, right? A borderline incel character is developing a little pocket you can stick your fingers or wiener into and get some positive feedback and encouragement from your AI fueled fuck sleeve. Listen, like if the robots aren't coming to kill us, Dave, they should be. They
Fuck-
should be.
the fuck
So
sleeve is.
the fuck sleeve, yeah, the fuck sleeve is coming to kill us all. So there's so much happening. Like I don't yeah. Thank God it's Friday because I need to disconnect for a minute here.
Andy, just when I think we're like at one stage, you go and pull something in like this and like completely add more to it. So, all right, Andy,
Well,
I think that's the appropriate place. Let's leave on the fuck sleeve. It'll be in the title somehow. I'll work it in there. But for this podcast, Andy, enjoy your new music. I'm enjoying my Swifty
yeah.
go through. I'm going to be engaging with my fellow Swifties at work today.
All right.
Um, but with that, Andy, I will catch up with you next time.